So, okay. So if we're talking about how to outline essay 2 and think about it as being 4 to 5 pages, really breaking it down into paragraphs that we would write. So that intro, we have the hook bridge thesis, and then we need to summarize Duckworth's key ideas. We also want to talk about Duckworth's purpose and audience, right? Because we're not just going to say, hey, her audience is young people. We need to prove it, right? We need to add evidence that why we think her audience is young people. So that's already 3 paragraphs in. We're already a page and a half in, and we haven't gotten into the rhetorical appeals. The bulk of the essay is going to be how. So like the how she argues. So this is really what she's claiming, right? This is who and why. And then almost all of the essay is going to be why or how she's doing it, how she's reaching her purpose and audience with these claims that she's making. And so then if you imagine we're talking about logos, if you, we'll talk more, I think one of the things we'll need to do on Friday is talk about logos in greater depth, because I had the quick video that I made. But if you look at the video and you look at the handout on Logos, Pathos, Ethos, and Kairos, there's actually kind of 2 components of logos. One is just hard or logic, reasoning, kind of thought, like where she's showing you the thought process that she's going through, right? And then another part of logos, and I need to, okay, can you see this okay?
Yeah, it's
okay.
Fine.
Do you want me to make it a little bit bigger?
Yes, that's helpful.
Okay. There we go. That might be even better, because I know I'm like, this is on my full screen and you're looking on your phone. So, okay. So another part of logos is looking at hard data evidence. Okay. So that could be 2 different paragraphs. So now we're already at 5 paragraphs, and we've only dealt with 1 rhetorical appeal. Okay. Now you don't necessarily have to have 2 of these. Ethos similarly can be broken into 2 different aspects. One is somebody's trustworthy because of their character. I know I have a misspelling there. I'll fix. And so things like they're humble, honest, fair, right? That we trust them because of that, right? And then, but then ethos could also be trustworthy because of their authority or expertise, right? And so, like, you know, that she's got this PhD. I might even deal with that one first, because if I'm just talking about all the data that she uses, then I can tie into the fact that she's got her PhD in neurobiology, you know, and that she's a professor at the University of Pennsylvania, which is an Ivy League university, right? And so, you know, like that all of these, you know, things, like we trust her because she has all this expertise. But then I can say that in addition to having expertise, she's also really humble, and she's, you know, honest, and she talks about times that she made mistakes in the way she thought about things. And so that can be another thing where we go, oh, we trust her because of that. Well, that's already 7 paragraphs. Now I'm going to go further than you necessarily need to go. Like you might only have 1 paragraph on logos. You might only have 1 paragraph on ethos. But I just want to show you how with pathos and the emotional appeal, you might have 1 paragraph on the strengths of her emotional appeal. But you could even have a paragraph where you have, I'm sorry, I need to bring that up. You could have a paragraph where you talk about the weaknesses of her emotional appeal, right? So I'm just showing you how you could, like, if you put this essay on steroids, the deeper you go into each of these topics, the more you could go in. Kairos, probably only 1 paragraph, to be honest. That's not going to be a really long one. And then conclusions. I've had other books that I've done where they really, like Michael Pollan's In Defense of Food, he really hits the Kairos button a number of times. She doesn't as much, so it's probably not going to be a long one. And it is something that if you get in depth enough on all the other appeals, you could skip Kairos altogether, right? If you had a ton to say on pathos or ethos, you could skip some of the rhetorical appeals. You don't need to address every single one on the list, but you would have to go so much more in depth on the other ones to skip that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So this is already, this is a little bit, I doubt that anybody needs to have 11 paragraphs. But if you think about that, that would definitely get you over 5 pages. If you have 11 well-developed paragraphs, that's probably over 5 pages, and we're talking 4.5 to 5. Okay, so it could be 1, 2, 3. This could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so it might be like 8 paragraphs if I only have 1 pathos, 1 ethos, 1 logos, right? But that would be kind of like, to me, like this is how I would organize the essay personally, and so that I'm not just saying, oh, Duckworth is writing to young people, like as one sentence, because then my readers have to just trust me on that, and I haven't really supported that. I haven't proven, I haven't explained why I think she's writing to young people. And so I would assume, I mean, and if people really had a lot to say, they could divide this into 2 different paragraphs. But I think that purpose and audience work really well together, because if she's trying to give advice to young people just launching into the world, right, that kind of, those 2 things really fit well together. So when you kind of break it apart this way, if you're really, what you have to do is really find evidence that you would put in each of these paragraphs. And that's something that we'll work again, we'll work on Friday. Okay?
Okay, yes, that helped a lot. Thank you.
You're very welcome. All right. You have a great day.
You too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.